Imagine getting paid 1,000, 10K, maybe even 100K for one single project. Sounds impossible? Well, I did it, and I believe that you can as well. Because the very fact that you clicked on this video means that you want something to be changed. And I do too. I would still spend $5,000 on a course and still pay monthly mentorship with the agency owner that I know. And in this video, I will share with you the lessons that people are willing to pay thousands for. But before I talk about common mistakes, why would you listen to me? And that's because I'm able to make 6-figure consistently every single year, working with top music artists, commercial brands, and tech brands. I do not only 3D animations, but also branding, VFX, and video production. Now with that out of the way, let's talk about the first mistake. If I were to ask you, what is the first platform that you think of when we're talking about freelancing creative services? Chances are people would say Fiverr. But let me ask you this. Do you think some reputable clients, let's use mine as an example, do you think Millennium, who is a Grammy nominated artist, would go on Fiverr to find 3D artists? No, of course not. But why wouldn't they? Because perception. Most people go on Fiverr to find the cheapest deal. And if you are on that platform, especially if you live in a first world country who has significantly higher living costs than third world countries, you're shooting yourself in the foot by price competing. And another thing is, would you rather work with 10 $100 clients or work with one of $1,000 client? Just from my experience, the cheaper the client is, it feels like their whole life is dependent on that job. And the best ones, they're not only high paying, they let me do whatever. That's the amount of trust that is really hard to build on a platform like Fiverr. The second mistake that I see a lot of people, especially newly graduated designers, would ask in my Discord is, I want to apply for a studio, how do I get the job? And when I ask them, why do you want a studio job instead of freelancing? They either don't know how to answer, or they think that freelancing is a lot harder than applying for a studio job. But the reality is, studios are actually a lot more competitive to do, and you have no idea how many good artists that I know get rejected by studios or ghosted by studios left and right. So if you are just starting out in 3D and you want to have a studio job, you might need to reconsider that. And a lot of times when people say, oh, I want a studio job because it's stable, but do you really think there's anything that is stable these days, especially considering how AI is developing so fast? And another thing I want you to consider is the fulfillment, knowing that you are making no visible difference in the studio's creativity and business side of things when you are only a junior artist. I would say only consider studio work if you are considering to beefing up a specific future-proof skill, not 3D modeling, not texturing, but something like developing a plugin. And that goes to the next point, how to future-proof against automation. You probably already know that there are a lot of AI tools out there that can do text to 3D models. While they are not good enough, they're already replacing so many low poly modelers' jobs. Believe it or not, I actually worked with Luma AI promoting text to 3D feature, and that's only their first version. So imagine how it's going to be in 5 years. But if you have a more advanced skill set, such as developing any plugins, specific plugins for studios needs, and even if you have the most advanced skill sets in developing plugin, it is still better to do not only customized plugin for studios, but also control your own distribution channel, which means growing your socials and sell those plugins to a wider audience. So I talk about all these things that you shouldn't do, then what should you do? From my experience and the things that I've seen working from other artists, the best way is still to freelance and eventually starting your own agency. And in the next video, I will share with you the fundamental mindset that you have to have before you start freelancing and even considering starting your own agency.